Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to tell you guys and we're going to discuss why I actually won't be doing my first oil change myself. I'm going to take it to the dealer to do it. And I know all of you car people out there are going to be cringing at that. Don't worry, I am too. Let's actually get a little pull here. Oh, there's a car. This car can be surprisingly quick when you want it to be, even when you're just like driving around the neighborhood. So what was I talking about? I'm not doing my first oil change in this car, and there's a very, very strong reason. I may not even do my first 4 or 5 oil changes, and as somebody that does oil changes and have done all their oil changes for their vehicles for as long as I can remember, it feels weird to say that. It's gonna cost me a little bit more, but again, there's a very, very strong reason why, and we're gonna explore that in today's video. But before we get to that point, if you guys don't know what I'm driving, we're gonna roll some B-roll of this car right now. And hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. Lots of cool content coming to this channel in a very short time frame. And let's talk about it. So my decision not to do my first oil change is strictly to build, I'm gonna call it the Carfax for the car, but it's not really for the purposes of showing maintenance on a Carfax. It's really for the purposes of showing dealer maintenance and proper care with this FA24 engine, knowing that we don't really know that much about the RTV at this point. I bought this car fully understanding that it may have RTV issues. That might be something that I have to deal with at some point. And I know that because my plan is, although I have a warranty and it's great, and this is the best way to maintain the warranty, although Magnuson-Moss says I can do my oil changes and it shouldn't affect it, it opens up some questions. I will be honest with you. Everybody that's like, oh, it's guaranteed not to, it's actually not necessarily the fact. They can do oil testing and all kinds of stuff that can get you into a loophole. So just understand that it's not like a foolproof thing. With that said though, I want to know going into tuning and building this car that it doesn't have RTV. And what that really means, I need to put this car through basically a rigorous amount of driving and actually a handful of oil changes, because I want to suss out prior to going, full board on tuning and building the engine, that at least I get an idea of, am I going to have the problems? Now, is that a foolproof way of understanding if I'm going to have RTV issues? Absolutely not, but it's the best mental due diligence that I can do to at least feel okay that I did my best to try to do something to understand if I'm going to have a problem. And it's an interesting sentiment because, I probably don't need to have the dealer change the oil, but here's what I want to do. If in fact I have a time frame where I check my dipstick or something like that, or I eventually down the line do my own oil change, and I find evidence of RTV, because part of not doing the own oil changes is I won't really know. But from everything that I've seen so far, the RTV is an ongoing issue, that after you start showing signs of it, it will show through a couple oil change cycles, and it actually, after the first or second sign, it might actually get worse over time for the oil change cycles. But before I lose you, my intention is to have concrete proof that I had nothing to do with any type of oil issues, because my intention is to try to convince a dealer to drop the pan under warranty, which we know at this point is not something that anyone has at least documented being able to do. So we know that dealers are charging people to drop the pans, and that some dealers are saying that even dropping the pan could have an effect on the long-term warranty, which I just think is crazy. But we've seen that statement, so whether that's a legal statement or not, that is very much a question for attorneys, because I don't think that is the reality. But I want to have a concrete history of oil changes from the dealer just to show that I am like your average consumer, that I've been doing the maintenance, but it's been a dealer and it's documented, and I have documentation and proof, so that if I do have a problem, especially before I go to tune the car, I have all the evidence in the world to make sure that if a pan needs to be dropped or anything like that, I can get it done. When I go to tune my car, am I going to drop the pan at the tuner or wherever prior? Probably. I'm probably going to do it anyways. But the reality is if I have the dealer service at least the oil for the first couple oil changes, I get a bunch of benefits, right? And the reality is maybe it costs me an extra $150 bucks, but I get the first oil change free because I bought it with a dealer that's close enough to me that I just can do that. And it just makes sense. 150 bucks, and then I have some documentation. It shows on my Carfax if I ever were to sell the car. Does that really add that much value? Probably not, but the real thing is it shows Subaru of America, if there were ever to be a problem, that I've done that. And I do that out of experience from what happened with my first WRX, where I had the problems with the transmission. And I had a few other problems with that first WRX, with just running weird for a short period of time, and I don't know how to best describe it. It just wasn't running right. It was dropping really, really, really low RPMs beyond what that 15 WRX did anyways based on the stock tune. It dropped really low RPMs, so I brought it in, and they really didn't like Subaru of America really didn't like that I'd been doing my own oil changes. And I understand, I get that, and I understand it. But they wanted receipts from my oil purchases. They wanted everything. They wanted the time of day that I'd been doing it, which I guess I don't have to give them, but we were trying to solve a problem, and it just helped. And I understand that there is some diagnosis, because for the average person, they might be using something like Royal Purple in a WRX, which is a terrible idea for a multitude of reasons, and we won't get into it, but things like that. So the short answer is, this is just a risk tolerance decision. It has nothing to do with my car manliness, whatever it is around changing my oil. There's nothing to do about pure convenience. It's really about risk tolerance. And for the first couple oil changes, it's not worth the risk for me, because I also don't know how long it's going to take me to not tune the car. Like every part of me wants to tune the car, so I'm trying my best to give it some time and fully build the exterior before I really start pushing new boundaries with the engine. So we'll see, but that's basically it, guys. It's all risks, and that's something that people have been asking, so thought I'd make the video. And you know what, I'll see you guys in the next video, because I don't want to waste any more time of your lives. Hopefully I didn't waste your time, but hope you learned something. So I'll see you guys in the next one.